So I mentioned some more. So here's some of the cool new things that have percolated in. So there's this thing called the Stage Web View. And basically it allows you to have a browser within your Flash app. And you can do this, on the desktop, but this is really useful on the mobile side. I use it for a lot of my mapping stuff. So if you read my blog, you can see I have a few posts about actually using the Stage Web View to display Google Maps within the context of my Flash application. But it's also a great solution, one of the better solutions, for saying doing something like Facebook Connect, handling some of the OAuth authorization that you might have for Facebook, or if you're willing to pull in some Twitter integration, where there's a security token handshake. This is a great way to do it. It's also a great way of handling some really dynamic remote content. So you can set up very mobile web-friendly pages and pull them in through a Stage Web View. So definitely worth checking out. It's also a great way. I mean, Flash doesn't always have the best text layout stuff, and I have some friends who will use the Stage Web View actually looking at local files using WebKit as their text rendering engine for their content, rather than trying to use Flash and its display list to render out the content. So, start thinking outside the box. Another new thing is Stage Text. So speaking of text, released in N3.1, we now have the ability to have access to the native text of the device and to more than native keyboard. Now, we've always been able to pull up the soft keyboard, but we only pull up just the base keyboard. If you've used iOS for a little bit and some better Android apps, there are actually multiple keyboards available to the developer. And it's been a request on the Air side for a long time that, there's a numeric-only keyboard in iOS and Android. So if I'm just trying to type in a mobile number, you can just have the numbers. Yes, I can flip, a little question mark 1, 2, 3 key on the bottom, and it flips me over to the number node. But if you ever, pulled up the dialer, that's a number-only dialer, number-only keyboard. There are also other custom keyboards for emails and web addresses where various things are tuned to support the input of that in a lot friendlier fashion. Usually there's a button that'll say, .com, you hold it, and, .org, .edu, .mil pops up, those sorts of things, making it a much faster, easier input method. So now that we have this Stage Text capability, we can actually start to get a little native, which is nice. I mean, we're starting to get, like I said, we don't have all the widgets, but we're starting to get a little closer inside. Another area is Stage Video. So a lot of projects wind up with video. None of my applications I've done have really played to the video side, but basically it allows for playing below the display list for the video to render, and it will have basically the decoding be handled by the GPU. If you're going to get into Stage Video, there are a lot of caveats on the encoding of the video, the delivery, the link, and those sorts of things. So if you're going to be looking at building something in this arena, spend some additional time doing some homework and testing and reading up on it. I am not an expert in this one feature, other than I know there will be dragons ahead in that area. So I offer that to you as you move forward. Right before we started the talk, we were talking about, do people know the difference on iOS if it's running with Air for Android? And the answer is, other than the large file size, probably they don't. I mean, Machinium was like the #1, touted iPad app for, a week, highlighted on the App Store. That's an Air for Android app, Air for iOS application. And so, it was a nice validation of what's possible with the platform. Now we have the capability with Android as well to bundle the Air runtime within our application. So one of the real big marks against Air for Android was it was a double install process, just like it is on the desktop. So you pull a brand new Mac or a brand new PC out of the box, and you go to install something like TweetDeck, or Lita is going to say, Oh, I need the air runtime. Hang on, let me go get it. That may not be the best user experience that you or your client wants. Now you can bundle the runtime within your application. Now your file is going to take a big file size hit. It's going to grow. Now to do this with Flash Professional, you're going to have to unfortunately use the command line. This is not directly supported within the program at this time. It is over on the Flash Builder 4.6, but not over on the Flash side. So if you're a Flash developer and you want this capability, you're going to have to do a quick Google and get real familiar with a command line compilation of an air application. If you're at that point, and this is of interest, I would also strongly recommend that you pick up Ant, which is a sort of a scripting shell automated build process. It's yet another tool that stands for. Will probably make your life much happier as you go through the whole iterative test and build process. So, but it means you build a nice app, you're not going to have to necessarily say, you're not going to get the review. Oh, it's written in error. Oh, this app sucks. It may not. It may be the most awesome app in the world, but by taking that one little opportunity to ding you away, that's good for you. So another advantage that we now have to us are these things called ANIs, Air Native Extensions. So if you know native code, whether it be Objective-C, C on the desktop, Java on Android, got a friend, to write your own, there are several being published. You can use native code to access platform and device-specific capabilities. For example, I always thought this was funny. On Air for mobile, I do not have access to the vibrator on the phone. We've all had our phone vibrate like this. I don't know. Had it in Flashlight, but didn't have it there. Now there's an ANE that Adobe's put out called Vibration. I can drop that in. It's next to the switch. That's how you kind of pull it in. You can pull these into Flash Professional. It takes a few more steps, not quite as integrated as the Flash Builder, and now have access to that type of things. Talking about sensors. There's a gyroscope of many devices. Out of the box, I don't have access to the gyroscope. With an ANE, I can have access to the gyroscope. And there are other ones coming. There is not really a marketplace, but there is a listing on adobe.com of various ANEs that are being published. I'm actually inquiring. There was supposed to be a map one that was being worked on. Unfortunately, it was being managed by one of the evangelists who was let go recently, so I do not know the status of that